SREB Powerful Literacy Practices includes 6 major indicators. This video will focus on one of those indicators, establishing learning targets that measure students' level of understanding.
Hello, good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Okay. Choosing my learning targets with cognitive demands that are student-friendly and appropriate, and matching the formative assessment to that learning target helps me make sure that I know where my students are. So using that data to drive instruction. And a lot of times, just the same way I tell my students, it's not always a numbers data. A lot of times it's a qualitative words kind of data. So if I hear a conversation that's a little off topic, or if I see an idea that's not quite justified, I can prompt and do that tier 2 instruction with a group of students or one student and say, be sure that you provide that evidence. Why do you think that? What was the purpose of this situation versus that situation? And again, always providing that reasoning, that because. So let's go ahead and read our learning target. So repeat after me. I can apply scientific principles to explain how magnetic poles interact.
Clear and measurable learning targets are communicated with students to explain what will be learned and what will be produced as an artifact of learning.
So as I'm walking around, I'm going to be looking for you having your observations, and I'm also going to be looking for your evidence. Okay? Now, just to kind of give you a little bit of a rundown of what your station is going to include. Okay? At all of your stations, you have station 1A and 1B is in the folder. Okay? Let's go ahead and get our blue writing notebooks out, blue writing evidence notebooks. Let's get those out, or folders rather. And let's turn to the reading side of that folder. And what I want you guys to do is read through your materials, read through your procedure, and then you can go ahead and get started on investigation 1A. Okay, read it aloud to your group, please.
Materials for 1A. 2 toy cars, tape, 2 bar magnets with ends labeled A and B. Bar magnet without labels.
Okay, so when you put these 15 centimeters apart, when they come back like that, the car with the letter facing up will it will make the car without the letter just make it go farther back. So,
Yeah.
it would push it off basically.
Like the magnet make it push back.
Yeah. Okay. So we should say magnetic. The magnet with B, like magnet B. Yeah.
Learning targets for each lesson are connected to the overarching literacy assignment.
So now that you have gone through identifying the parts that we have already completed from the ADI process, okay, we need to know what an ADI report looks like, okay? Take a moment with your partner and read that aloud, please.
Section 1. Every person is born with 23 pairs, 46 total, of chromosomes, which come from their parents. Half come from the mother and the other half come from the father. Most of the time, meiosis, the process of a diploid dividing into 4 haploid cells, happens as it should. However, sometimes things go wrong. Offspring can have any number of genetic abnormalities. Our goal in this experiment is to learn what can happen if meiosis goes wrong. In this experiment, our group investigated the research question: how do 2 normal parents produce a child with Chat syndrome, child number 1, and a child with Down syndrome, child number 2?
every person is born with 23 pairs of
Yeah, they would give us
chromosomes and all that.
valuable information.
Yeah, they were giving you information before they even told you about like
Yeah.
what they're experiment about. Because like in the second section, they're like, in this experiment we modeled it, and that's why.
Yeah.
And that's how you know they're gonna start talking about like experiments and stuff.
Yeah. All right. So step 1 is
They were giving out
give
information.
out, yeah,
So
valuable
that's what
information.
their task is, okay? And then what was their question that matched with that task?
And then start explaining their goal.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so
then-
that was their investigation.
Formative assessments monitor the student's progress toward mastery of the learning target. It may include an opportunity for students to reflect on their own learning. These reflections should be utilized to inform instruction.
Car A is putting more force than car B.
Car A is putting more force than car B. Okay, how do you know that?
Because when we rub in each other like the car, like that, it's kind of putting together.
Okay,
Putting more force.
okay. Michael, you were going to say something. What were you going to say?
One is positive energy and one's negative energy.
Okay, one's positive energy and one's negative energy. Which one do you think is positive? Why do you think that?
I think B is positive
Okay,
because it's a well. Because that one's putting more force into this one before it
Okay.
can pull back.
okay. What makes it have more force?
The magnet, because when you push it more this way, the car's going to be pushing this way.
Okay, okay. So let's make sure that we use our I noticed that, and then in the second column, be sure to write down your reasonings for that. And I
Okay.
want you guys to make sure that you're talking about that as well, okay?
I think doing multiple ways of experimenting is good because I am an auditory learner and I know there are a lot of people who are not. And so when she goes up there and she makes us repeat it, we can hear it. Then she has it written down on the board, we can read it. Whenever she gives us things we can touch them. And so I think that being able for everyone to do that makes everyone else comfortable with learning, in her classroom especially, because they can learn whatever way they feel comfortable learning.
As emphasis is placed on deeply understanding and implementing the concept of powerful literacy practices, ask yourself the question: to what extent are clear and measurable learning targets established and communicated to students in your classroom, your school, and your district?